Have you ever stopped to think about that humble roll of paper sitting in your bathroom? It seems so ordinary, so inexpensive, so normal. But what if I told you that this simple roll is the final chapter in a thousands of years long story? A story of cleanliness, comfort, dignity, and even social status. The history of toilet paper is actually the history of humanity itself, a long and often messy search for a better way to handle one of life's most basic needs. Our journey begins in antiquity, where people had to get creative. Forget soft, fluffy rolls. In ancient Mesopotamia, you might have used smooth stones or even pieces of baked clay. In the dry, sandy environment, it was a practical solution. Over in ancient Egypt, the elites had access to the life-giving Nile River. Water was their primary method of cleaning, seen as purifying and sacred. For those with less access, linen scraps were an option. The ancient Greeks had a particularly interesting method. They used smooth, rounded pebbles called pissoi. Archaeologists have found some of these pebbles with names inscribed on them. It seems the Greeks had a sense of humor, perhaps symbolically wiping away people they disliked. Imagine that! Then came the Romans, the great engineers of sanitation. They built impressive public toilets with rows of stone seats. But their cleaning tool, the tersorium, a sponge on a stick dipped in a shared bucket of salt water or vinegar, was a communal affair. While it was innovative for its time, sharing a toilet sponge likely helped spread diseases far and wide. After the Roman Empire fell, Europe entered the Middle Ages and hygiene took a major step backward. The wealthy might use soft linen cloths, but for the common person, things were a lot rougher. They used whatever was available: straw, hay, moss, leaves, or even dried animal dung. Washing with water was rare, as many believed it was dangerous and could cause illness. But this wasn't the case everywhere. Across the Islamic world, water was essential for cleaning, deeply tied to religious practices of purity. This is why water-based cleaning is still so common in the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Asia today. Meanwhile, in medieval Japan, people used thin bamboo spatulas called chugi, which were washed and reused. And across the Americas, indigenous peoples adapted to their environments, using everything from leaves and grass to animal skins, and for the Inuit in the Arctic, a handful of fresh, crisp snow. The first real breakthrough came from China. Paper was invented there around the 2nd century BCE, but it took a few centuries for someone to think of using it for personal hygiene. By the 6th century, it was common enough that a scholar warned people not to use paper with sacred writings on it for, well, you know. By the Song dynasty, they were already making special soft paper just for this purpose. And get this, in 1393, records show the imperial court produced 720,000 sheets of toilet paper. This was the world's first known mass production of toilet paper. Europe was much slower to catch on. Even with the invention of the printing press, paper was expensive. It wasn't until the 18th and 19th centuries, with the rise of cheap newspapers and mail-order catalogs, that things changed. In the United States, the thick, free, and widely distributed Sears Roebuck catalog became the unofficial toilet paper for millions of rural families. Its perforated pages made it surprisingly convenient. The modern toilet paper we know and love was born in 1857. An American inventor named Joseph Gaetti introduced Gaetti's medicated paper, flat sheets treated with aloe. He marketed it as a health product for hemorrhoids, but it didn't really take off. Why pay for special paper when old newspapers were free? The real game changer was Seth Wheeler, who patented the perforated toilet paper roll in 1871. That design, a continuous strip of paper wrapped around a tube, is still the standard today. In 1890, the Scott Paper Company was the first to successfully mass-market toilet paper on a roll. But there was a problem. At the time, bodily functions were not something you talked about. It was considered embarrassing to even buy toilet paper. Scott took a risk and put their name boldly on the packaging, breaking the taboo and making their brand a household name. The 20th century was all about refinement. Early toilet paper was often rough and splintery. In 1928, Charmin entered the scene, advertising a much softer product with feminine, elegant branding. They transformed toilet paper from a shameful necessity into a symbol of modern, sophisticated hygiene. Soon after, two-ply paper arrived, offering even more softness and strength. Then, in the 1950s and 60s, a strange trend emerged: colored toilet paper. Pink, blue, yellow, and green rolls became a fashion statement, designed to match your bathroom tiles. It was a brief but memorable era of bathroom decor. This fad faded in the 70s due to environmental concerns about the dyes, but it shows how much toilet paper had become part of our culture. And who could forget the great toilet paper panic of 1973? One night, late-night host Johnny Carson made an offhand joke about a supposed toilet paper shortage. The audience laughed, but the public took it seriously. People rushed to stores, clearing shelves across the country, which created a very real but entirely self-inflicted shortage. It was a bizarre moment that proved just how essential toilet paper had become to our sense of security. The 80s and 90s brought us even softer, stronger, and more absorbent quilted and multiply papers. By the 2000s, it was a multi-billion-dollar global industry. And then, in 2020, history repeated itself. The COVID-19 pandemic triggered another wave of panic buying, with images of empty shelves and hoarded rolls flooding social media. Once again, toilet paper became a symbol of our collective anxiety. Today, the world uses about 30 billion rolls of toilet paper a year. That's a lot of trees and a lot of water. This has led to a new wave of innovation focused on sustainability. Recycled paper, bamboo toilet paper, and more eco-friendly production methods are becoming popular, showing a growing awareness of our environmental footprint. Of course, the world is a big place and toilet paper isn't king everywhere. Water-based cleaning is still the norm for billions of people. And in Japan, they've taken toilet technology to a whole new level. Their high-tech bidet toilets feature heated seats, warm water jets, air dryers, and even automatic lids, turning a simple act of hygiene into a spa-like experience. In other places, like Turkey, people use a hybrid system, combining both water and paper for the best of both worlds. So the next time you reach for that roll, take a moment to appreciate it. That simple piece of paper is the product of thousands of years of human ingenuity, cultural shifts, and technological progress. From ancient stones and shared sponges to ultra-soft, sustainable rolls, the story of toilet paper is a quiet but powerful reflection of our journey as a civilization, always searching for a little more comfort, dignity, and well-being in our daily lives.